Hello again everybody and welcome back to Fujit's Blitz. Now recently Wargaming invited myself along with more other notable official community contributors and some content creators to take part in a summit meeting whereby we were able to ask Wargaming and Wargaming's developers some serious questions. I personally believe it was an important meeting and certainly a very good step from Wargaming to interact with those who do have an active interest in promoting the game on behalf of the player base and to try and raise those issues that bother you, the player. I admit this video is a little bit long and this is part one because if I gave it all in one go it would be massive, but some of what is discussed may be interesting to you. So I apologise for the length of the video, but it is interesting to hear Wargaming's views on a few things.
So, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our first summit. It will be hosted in English by me. My name is Alexandra, if you don't know me. I'm very happy to see everyone here. So, thank you for joining our summit. Happy that it will be very interesting and useful for you.
So, maybe a quick intro from our dev team.
Of course. So, if there are no questions, let's begin. So, hello one more time. Welcome to our Q&A session. And let me introduce our development team. Let's start from Alexander. Please wave so everyone can see you. Alexander is lead of our game designer team. He's responsible for most of game features, so welcome him. And Alexander, I hope that questions will be easy enough for you. Thank you for joining our summit. Roman is responsible for events, for the storage, for consumables and provisions. So very interesting and important man in our team. Thank you for coming also. Vladimir, or Vova, in short, thank you for joining our summit as well. Vova is responsible for our Rebel Stripe, help me.
Gameplay features and random metals and new game modes, different game modes.
Different game modes. Thank you, Vladimir. I'm sorry, I'm just a little bit nervous because it's our first Q&A session with you, so forgive me. Ilya, also with us today. Ilya is our project manager in our operations team, so he can help us with customization questions, with store questions. So Ilya will be very useful for us today. Also welcome him. Rebel Stripe, well-known, Dennis, also with us today. He's community manager. He also works with a lot of features, and it will be very interesting to listen to him and maybe ask some questions to him as well. Yes, so here we go with Dmitry. Dmitry makes clan activities, battle passes. Thank you, Dmitry, for joining our summit. Also, you can see some guys without camera. Insider is our community manager. He can answer very difficult, complicated technical questions. So do not hesitate to ask them. Also, you can see Alex, more known as Oscar Robertson. So thank you for also being with us today. You know bloggers and bloggers know you. Oh, thank you. You see Anna Mordovina. Anna Mordovina is our Tortic, also a community manager, SMM manager. She's just sitting with us, enjoying the atmosphere and listening to you and to your questions, just chilling with us. And stream 1 and stream 2 is our technical team. And these guys are responsible for recording all our Q&A sessions. So you will receive the material from them in a few days, as Tony said. So here we go. Let's start the party. So Amanet, my lovely lady, it's your first question. So let's go.
The first question is something to do with tournaments. I know that Wargaming asks the RU players for feedback, but I would really love it if they would start asking the top 4 of the other servers as well, because it kind of feels like they're being neglected when it comes to giving Wargaming feedback about basically tournament seasons. Will Wargaming ask other servers for feedback as well?
I think that Dmitry can answer this question. Maybe Rebelstripe will help him.
Okay, I get. So definitely we will ask other servers also to give us some feedback about the rules of the tournaments. Now we are in the process of some changes inside our team, which is working with tournaments, and I think next year we will have some changes in the rules of high-level tournaments like Blitz Cup, stuff like that. And also we will try to make tournaments more popular for more wide audience.
Okay, I'm gonna turn regarding the feedback regarding some pieces of advice from different regions. I think that if you have any ideas, you can contact Tony or Rebelstripe how to gather this feedback. So we are open to any ideas. Do not hesitate. You're always welcome.
I also would like to add something. So guys, you should understand that sometimes we have to ask for feedback from some players because we know if we don't ask them, they won't give it. We have, of course, me, Alexandra, Tony. If you want to say something about tournaments, don't hesitate. We're always open.
Thank you, Amanat. Avery, let's proceed with you.
All right. So I would like to know if there will be any changes regarding the matchmaking when it comes to classes, because on some maps there is an issue that it can appear that your team has one heavy tank and maybe 3 tank destroyers, and the enemy team has 3 heavy tanks but 1 tank destroyer, and these matchups can pretty much lead to an outcome before the game even started. So I would like to see if we could maybe get something about that in the future.
Okay, thank you, Avery, for your question. Alexander, are you ready to answer the question about
I can answer
matchmaking?
Maybe in Russian. Okay, can I speak in Russian?
Of course. So, Tony, can you help us with translation, please?
Мы внимательно смотрим за статистикой на разных картах, и сейчас не видим существенных различий между какими-то сетапами команд, таких катастрофических различий, да.
Let's make a pause.
Yeah, so what Alexander said is that we are constantly tracking all the maps, all the battles, and we gather all that massive pool of statistics. And now it shows like no some drastic differences depending on team composition. So put it in simple, it's like according to statistics, it's not like a big problem there. So what Alexander said is that there may be some like minor issues in team composition, but we believe that the 2 main things that we need to cover, like when matchmaking teams, is to still have some variability in team composition, so not matches are like one and the same in terms of like how it works out. And the second very important thing is that waiting time should still be like within some decent time, because the more rules we apply to matchmaking, the longer waiting time gets.
Okay, Hasamat, you have an extra question, right?
Yeah, I have an extra question concerning matchmaking. We talk about the compensation of heavies and all this stuff, but I think one important question many players wrote to me is, do you balance the number of auto reloaders too in future? So there are many battles with an uneven number of auto loaders on both sides.
So we're continuing the previous thread here because Alexander was speaking about the same matchmaking rules. So if we consider autoloader tanks as a separate tank class, this is how we extend the time you wait for battle, and this is unacceptable for us. And also I would like to add that this also come to the battle variety. So it's absolutely okay to clash a single shot heavy tank and a heavy tank with autoloader or autoreloader. This is how the game works. This is how the random works. So you have to prove that the type of gun you have doesn't matter. So it's all about your skill, your tactics, and so on. So also we will track the stats of such battles when there are unequal numbers of autoloaders and classic tanks. And if there are any balance fluctuations that we should carry about, we will do that. And of course, we will still try to handle the waiting time.
Yeah, I think that our dev Ilya also has something.
Yeah, well, just like a short summary for you, for us, random battle is a random battle. We don't want to have like mirroring setups in our teams. And for sure, if we have some critical issues, like we had, I don't know, when we have 4 tank destroyers and one team, it was a critical issue for balancing. It was critical issues for team results, and we fixed it. And yes, in the future, if we will understand that, I don't know, autoloaders or light tanks give us some critical issues in random battles, we will fix it too.
We might get a bit forward, but there is another question concerning matchmaking, concerning lights and medium tanks. So in future, we plan to combine them in one category. So we will try to put the same numbers of lights and medium overall by team.
Say that we don't want to add new rule which will work only on 2 hours per day or on 1 hour per day, and all other time it will not be work.
And for sure, for us, it's important we have not only top players, because it's a very little cohort of our audience if we speak about top players, and it's like less than 1% of players. And I think we don't need some pools about queue, because we have lots of numbers, lots of stats, and we can show like after 1 minute, I don't know, it's like example, after 1 minute of queue, people just close our application, and we don't need some pools for it. We watch all full picture in our statistics, in our dashboards, and etc.
So I want to just to clarify that the waiting time isn't the main number. It is one of the 2 main numbers to make the balance and waiting time. And as Ilya mentioned, we really track the number of seconds which players can wait, and we track the seconds after the players will queued.
Yeah, I want
one of the things is that, like right now, you can have a battle with 2 Yo's, a Kranwagen, and I don't know, a TVP on one side versus single loaders on the other side. It would not extend the queue time if that was balanced out more.
I have something to, yes. In this case, you are talking about only one battle, but the matchmaker is operating a huge number of battles at 1 second. So it's still adding a new rule. So in this case, matchmaker just consider heavy, medium, TD, or light. The second it starts considering the gun type or any other additional mechanics, this is when, whether you want it or no, it will extend the waiting time.
Let's proceed with Droodles.
So starting this one off just simple. So replays is a great idea, but I know the rewind ability is in the game files, but currently to rewind on replays, we have to press the escape key on PC, reload it up, and then if we miss it again, have to go back. Just trying to get a spot in your replay and not being able to rewind 5 seconds is something that I feel like should be fixed with the replay system.
The replay function is very old, and still it's not working perfectly as we all want it. Our team was working on this feature for a long time, but unfortunately, there is such thing as prioritization. So we have some more important things to do. YT'er has something to add, so welcome.
And now, some little addition about the replays. So you probably might have thought that
So it seems not important for wargaming, and they are not doing that. What the hell? The main reason or underlying reason is that technically it's a really tough thing. It might sound like very simple task. So whatever, you're just loading a replay, and what if you just press back and just got back? But okay, I can talk very long about replays, but you should understand that it's really tough thing, and it works like real life works. So, you know, in our universe, processes are irreversible. They can't be rewind because every entity and everything has its own timeline and its own number of states that are changing continuously. And so Big World Engine, our server engine, also has entities and objects, and our just client maps, tanks, shells, all have their states. And imagine that a replay is a log file. It's a text file, basically. So you cannot just rewind it like a video file. And when, for example, you're watching a replay and you stopped it somewhere, and lots of events have happened during that time, then you gotta rewind it back. And when you press some time in the past, you have to rewind every state, every shot, every broken object, everything. You don't just have to get back to the video file like a stream. You have to recreate the battle again from the scratch at that exact point. And of course, it's doable, but it's kind of too hard for this task to be just done like right away. And to be honest, we canceled a feature like benchmarking in the game because it should have used replays and there were problems with them. But as soon as we are ready, we will deliver that to you.
Add something.
Yeah, just quick summary for Drudels and other guys. This feature has really high position in our backlog for our game, but tech team which work with this feature sometimes need to change on another feature because sometimes they work with really critical problems like we had a month ago on our Google Play and etc. But yeah, we are working with this feature and we hope we can deliver it soon for you and for other guys.
Drudels, that's the answer to your question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's proceed. Jack?
Right. So my I know that my question is not probably going to be it's not at the first of the list, but I think it's worth asking anyway. It's regarding tournaments, which I think Dennis or Tony might have a better idea on that. But will wargaming consider different professional tournament formats for different servers because of the size? Long story short, so will wargaming consider different professional tournament formats in the same season in the future?
Okay, the question is well taken. Dmitry, will you be so kind and answer about tournaments and different types of tournaments for servers?
I wasn't working with the tournament seasons last year very closely, but still, at least previous time, we always take into account the differences between the servers, and I'm sure the guys were thinking about that, but still we don't plan to make completely different rules because still, if we talk about Blitz Cup season, we will try to make it as much closer to Twister Cup as we can because it's like temporary replacement for the Blitz Twister Cup. In the future, we will hope that we will have opportunity to have one common tournament for every region. I believe that when we will be preparing, for example, spring season, we will definitely consult more with the top teams from different regions.
So, Jack, as far as I understand, you're asking about adjusting tournaments according to certain service peculiarities, like overall skill level, population, so on and so forth.
Yeah, it's more to do with the size, pretty much. I mean, the skill level is. The kind of the number of really, really top teams are like kind of similar for, let's say, EU, Asia, NA.
I see. So the major events, the major tournaments should be the same for every regions. So because when the COVID is gone, we really hope to gather you guys in Minsk or anywhere else to put you in the same conditions, and you have to go through the same way towards these tournaments. But if we're speaking about not so important tournaments, I think we can consider make them different. We'll discuss it. It depends on how important the tournament is. If it's a major one, the condition should stay the same for all regions. If we're talking about minor ones, we'll try to do something to at least discuss it within our team.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Thank you, Jack, for your question. Let's proceed with Fugit.
Ooh, me. Привет, devs. Очень приятно. That's the limit of my Russian. Mine's a short question. Well, shorter question, but it's two questions in one. The recent Polish heavys have got the new consumable tungsten shells. So the questions are, firstly, what was the theory behind the new consumable? And secondly, are you planning to roll that consumable out to other lines? Like you did with, like Wargaming did with this super speed boost, for example. So it's a short question, but there's two. Sorry.
I think that's the topic is one unique. So, Roman, it's your consumables and provisions. So let's go.
Привет, Darren. Can you repeat the first question?
Please? Yeah. What's the theory behind the tungsten shells?
Okay, so you mean the real theory, like physics or something like that? Oh.
Why did you bring them into the game?
Why?
My question. Yeah.
Because we want to give something interesting. So the random in our battles is a little bit short sometime, and we want like to do it a little bit shorter. Mm-hmm. And also they think that it might be interesting for our players. We play test a lot of consumables, like airplanes that drop something, some X-rays, and so on. So we render some consumables and ammunition, and we finds that this one is more or less interesting, and so we put it in the game.
Okay, that's fair. And the second part was, are you planning to roll it out to other nations, lines, basically?
In this situation, like in the Polish tree, we want to give something unique. So we think about it, and maybe we will, but also maybe in some differences, some changes. We will do some changes in it, like a little bit change characteristics and X-rays. Okay, and yes. So maybe yes, we will see it in like next year.
Thank you, Fugit. Thank you, Roman.
Let's move on.
Yes, let's move on. Frostbite, you're next.
All right. Good evening. So my first question, I'd like to ask about lower tiers. So recently, I feel, I guess a lot of players have felt that high tiers have attracted a lot of the attention in the game. They're the main tiers for raiding battles, for tournaments. Usually they're the tanks that players drive to get the highest XP or credits or whatever. And sometimes it feels like there isn't much of a reason to play lower tiers. So my question is, will there be any potentially events or features that could come to low tiers that would make them more attractive to play?
So I will try to ask, maybe Sasha will add something. For now, we also think about this problem. We see that most of the players, after researching tier 10 tanks, play on tier 10 and stop playing on lower tier tanks. And we think that it's really a problem, and we are thinking about creating some solution that will help the players, maybe give them a goal to play on a lower tier tanks. But honestly, we haven't come up with a solution yet. But this topic is in our head.
Basically, I think update 5.5 there is one of the key issues with what's happening now in the low tiers. And I get that Wargaming simplified the lower tiers, but I think they simplified them too much. So right now there is nothing of interest for newer players or even old players to stay in the low tiers. Let's put it this way. Will Wargaming add some of the older or newer low tier tanks back so that people actually have some variety to play in the low tiers?
The first it's about will we add something interesting for lower tiers? I think the question was about 5th, 7th, 6th these tiers, or lower than 5th.
Between 1 and 7, really.
From
a lot of
7.
attention is 1 to 6.
I think that from 1 to the 4th level, it is the level of education, where the levels where player study how to play the game. And from the 5th level, in my mind, in our vision, from the 5th level, it is the main game from the 5th level. Sometimes 4th, but from the 5th. Here, from the 5th level, sometimes 4th, we will add some interesting thing like events, tasks. If you can see the personal tasks in the storage, so we will add there, and it is one of the themes which I which I am working now. So it's personal events for players on these levels. And what about the second question about add something on the lower tier from 1st to 4th? I still believe that we make this level simpler, but we still have opportunity to get these tanks in some events, in some, for example, battle passes, and you can play there. And I still believe that for newcomers, it is simpler and it is better for them not to have so many choices here, because we saw how they play. We have a lot of videos of the player, how they play, a lot of statistics about it, and we know that so many choices in the low tiers isn't good for them. And from the 4th level, from the 5th level, just everything is open, all classes, all tanks. From the 5th level, we have all classes, I think the main part of tanks we saved in the game in the 5th level. In 4th, yes, we cut something, but you can still have it in battle passes, in events, in bundles, and everywhere, a lot of places where you can get it.
Just to sum it up, so as Alexander has already mentioned, we do a lot of researches, statistics. We constantly looking and checking the game of the newcomers, of our beginners, and each and every change we implement to the game is understandable, is necessary, and we do not just make something from the air. So I think that you all know that good professionals work in our team, and just trust us that if we make something that we have researched, we made a lot of work, and that's why we have implemented it. Alexander, you have something to add?
Yes, I have something. As Dimas said, we have one interesting feature which gives players interest to play on the 5th, 6th, 8th, 7th, any tank you want. And the goals for these tanks. I think this feature will be not very far from now. So I think it's
some spoilers. Yeah. Wait for this interesting feature for the medium tiers. Fugit, next question. Please try to make it fast.
Yeah, it will be fast. I did have a separate question, but it all rolls into this one thing. I understand where wargaming is coming from. I understand 5.5, etc. But do you think, deep down, that the ×5 boosters that we have is allowing players to just jump into those top tiers far too quickly, and therefore neglecting the middle and the lower tiers?
Yeah, your question is understandable. Alexander, I think that you can
I can answer. So we talk about certificates for X5, yes?
Yes.
This thing. We have the same fears about it, and we also checked statistics and found that the boost which X5 give for players isn't significant. We have more interesting things there, like task journals, daily chests, some events. Sometimes they these things influence more than X5 boosters, X5 certificates, much more. And if you checked if you look at low tiers now, we sometimes change something in daily chests, in events, in task journals. And for example, yesterday I checked our event for Grizzly, and I think we can make some rewards there smaller, because it's sometimes bigger than I think newcomers need. So I think we can, and we are looking into low tiers very. It's one of our focus. We look into low tiers every day, every week, every release, every patch. For example, I have. Every release, I have new account from low tiers and play there for 100 battles, and everything. What changed? What happened? So I think.
Vladimir has something to add, please.
Yeah, I just want to add a bit. So first, guys, yeah, it's true that maybe lately we make the road to tier tank a bit easier, but it's definitely significant for us, for you, for good players. Yeah, good players can use the possibility of these certificates very effectively and can make their road to tier 10 shorter twice, maybe triple times, maybe even quadruple it. But a regular, usual newcomer in our game don't know how to use those certificates appropriately. They don't have enough skill for using it well, for making good results in battles. So that's why we didn't boost them as much as we boost already good experienced players with this stuff, with these certificates. This is the first. And the second, I want to add about, I already forgot what I want to add, and you're answering the first part. Sorry, guys. I will add it a bit later if I will recall it.
Yeah.
That's all.
In case you will remind it, post it in our live chat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, Fugit, Seconded.
Yeah, that's that. I've got no more questions.
Okay. So, Reep, welcome. Happy to see you.
Hello, everybody. Hope
Hi.
you're fine.
So, I have any questions?
I have another question. I have one single word. It's called gun marks. I don't know if you talked about it.
Not yet.
So it's time to talk about it right now. I think for some experienced player that they are playing a long time, it will be something nice. I see a lot of new explosions in the game, so I think the engine should be ready. Will it be? When will it be? I think that's a good question.
So, gun marks. Who is our lucky death? Dmitry, yes.
I will start shortly. That we will not have gun marks in the nearest future, but now we work on a very similar feature to it that give a goal while playing a tank that you have already researched a long time ago, put it into top, installed all the models, but it's at least in the nearest future it won't be gun marks. Maybe Insider can explain why, but still the feature that we are working on, which, as I said, very similar to gun mark. I hope you will like it all.
Yeah, Insider, if you have something to add, please. You can explain why we don't have gun marks in the game.
Yeah, so some of you guys might be confused about the gun marks because they seem, again, very easy thing to implement, but there are just different technologies. You're looking at the tanks with moving armor, at some PBR textures, at improved 3D models, but that's kind of different. And that has to be, so basically we're talking about decals, yeah, so with texture, with some alpha, some translucency, yeah. So, and when they're placed against other textures, so desktop GPUs, video cards are absolutely okay with that, but mobile GPUs are struggling often.
Let's start with Hasomat. I'm ready to ask your question.
I think we can extend the last topic a little bit. So the community behind us is there since the beginning. So many of our players are no longer interested in all the in-game goods. So people ask me, for example, how they can unsubscribe from getting boosters and certificates. So as a clarification. So my perhaps question is, how can we get the veteran players back on board? So we spoke about gun marks a few minutes ago, but I think also a big topic for all of them is some sort of personalization. So perhaps personalization in form of clan logos or all this stuff. So we hear about decals are a problem for mobile engines, but yeah, just something to stick out from us. Yeah. So all our veteran players, they have all the tanks. They just need, some new love in the game.
New goal in the game, right?
Yeah.
Something to achieve.
So the question to, I think, Dmitry, because Hasomat mentioned clan emblems as an example.
I give a quick answer about clan emblems, and then I think Sasha will add something, because in general, it's not about the clans. It's about all the customization. So about the clans, we were discussing this feature a few months ago, and I would say so. When we entered the room, like the meeting room, we were all sure that we need this feature. It's really cool. It's cool to have something like avatars we have, but for clans. But in a 1 hour during the meeting, we all came to decisions that we don't need this feature at all, because the thing about clan is that clan don't need to change his emblem very often, because clan players need that their logo should be recognizable by other players. So it's not like with the personal avatars, because when you just put some pretty image. So that's why having a clan logos in the game, even a big collection of it, won't be very useful for players. Of course, if we will have opportunity to allow players use their own logos, it will be a cool feature, because really the clan can design the logo, put it in the game for some years or months, but it's impossible for our game and for most of the games to have some kind of the feature because of the moderation of the images. So we decided not to do something like that. But still, I agree that we never refreshed the emblem of clan emblem that we have in the game. It was introduced in 2015 and never changed after that. So in the nearest future, I believe we will refresh all the clan UI. It will be similar to all other game interfaces, more modern, stuff like that. And I believe that we can add some new pack of emblems for the clans.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that's what's about the clans. You can ask some additional.
If you speak about personal, maybe you have more question about clan customization. After I can speak about personal customization.
Yeah, let's ask Jules if your question is about clan customization.
This one had to do with Hasamet's original question for veteran players.
Mm-hmm.
So World of Tanks PC has the mission marathon campaigns, where like the Object 260, Object 279E, Chimera are tanks that take multiple months and weeks of effort to grind. And people that are usually very experienced at the game are only able to get tanks like the Object 279E. So could it be possible to implement a system into Blitz that maybe adds a new tier 10 collector that isn't anything special, but maybe top players might want to get their hands on by spending months on a grind that they could complete by harder and harder missions?
Yeah,
I think that's a little bit different questions, not about customization. I think Sasha will add something about customization, and then we will answer this question.
Yeah, I can start about customization, Alexander. We understand that all our guys want to have some interesting, some personal, if we speak about customization, and for sure it's our goal too, and we try to develop all our features if we speak about customization. We have some interesting plans about our avatars, about our attachments, skins, and etc. For sure, Roman, like a product owner of this feature, we always think about some new stuff of customization. Maybe hangar customization, maybe some battle screen customization, and etc. etc. And for sure, it's our goal to give you some interesting customization stuff, and we will work with this stuff. And I hope in 2022, maybe we will provide some interesting features for you. If you speak about personal customization, your account customization, your tanks customization, and etc. And about Judel's question, it's more about rewards about some features, and I think it's more about Alexander and maybe Vladimir. I don't know.
I can add something about the long-term goal in the game. So as you know, we add personal tasks like I don't know how it in English. In Russian, it is prikaz. In English, I don't know.
Order.
Order.
Right.
Yes. So it is a new type of quests, which allow us to add the chain of quests in the game. So after the quest, you got a new quest, and after that, new, and this is one of the opportunity. It gives us opportunity to make this chain of quests with maybe great reward in the end, or event in the end, personal event, and this is one of the vector in the way we are thinking now. We are thinking about it, how to make it interesting for you, for old players, for skillful players, for different players actually, not only for skillful, also for middle level, for low tiers, for any types of player. Interesting chain, with interesting reward in the end. And now we have this opportunity, and I think we will increase this type of content in our game.
Yeah. So
sorry, Alexandra. I just checked our chat, and guys said they asked more about some stuff for old players. Like, hey, I'm a huge one. For sure, we have our player rewards for birthday. But maybe we need to have more, and we will have, I don't know, Dima, can I spoil it? We will have some interesting rewards for our clan in future. But if we speak about some interesting rewards just for old players, just for veterans, maybe we don't have some specific plans about it, but we can think about it. Maybe some product owners want to add something about some rewards, some personal customization for our veterans.
Maybe some personal events for our old veteran players. So if there are no devs that wants to add anything, so let's sum it up. Guys, thank you for your feedback, for your question. We will take it into consideration. And as Ilya said, we will think about some personal customization or activities for our veterans. So we won't forget about you. No worries. And Hasamat, can we proceed to the next question?
Sure.
Yeah. So thank you so much for your question. Amanet, ready?
Yes. My question is mainly, the game right now is more toxic than ever. A while ago, Wargaming mass banned a bunch of people for saying certain terms. What are Wargaming's plans to do more against toxicity?
Okay, let's just clarify a little bit. What do we mean under the toxicity term? It's about chat, about the gameplay, about private messages.
Chat, both in game and in garage. I mean, today I've literally been told to get cancer, to do very specific things to my mother, to go kill myself, stuff like that, which is never okay in any way. So that's mainly, I'm really hoping that Wargaming will do something to punish these kind of people more, because a few days chat ban isn't going to make them stop doing it.
First of all, I'm really sorry to hear that you've met such players. Of course, toxicity is a big problem, and not only in World of Tanks Blitz, but in most games. So there are such people, such players that cannot take their emotions under control. And of course, as you have mentioned before, we have our support team that works with your tickets about unsporting conduct, about some abusive language in the chat, in the battle chat, whenever. So please do not hesitate and do not be lazy to send some proofs and screenshots to the support team. But also we're working on the new feature, and I think that Roman can proceed and share some details about it.
Wait a second, before Roman starts, I would like to add that it's not like when such crazy or mad or very evil people post something like this in a chat, they go away only with 1 day or 3-day bans. So the support considers his bans history, and if a person keeps violating the rules, so the punishment goes bigger and bigger, even up to permanent chat. So this thing works, and just don't think it's useless to spend a couple of minutes to send a ticket, because it's like your credit history, you know.
Yeah.
So if our support team faces players that are only that want only to insult others, to ruin others' experience, they will act in a proper way.
Yeah, thank you, Rebel. So, Roman, are you ready?
Yeah. So first of all, I know about the feature that improve the filter in chat that my colleagues are working on. So maybe in some next version we will see how it will become better. And the second, my team working on improvement of battle owner. So we want to implement some report system in the game. You can report some players about inappropriate behaviors, like what about some chat issues, some away from keyboard issues, and so on. So I think that the world become better after that. And yes, you should use like our support guys, because our ban system is actually working not so easy, they're working fine actually, and yes, they search about the history of this guy and ban him and punishment well.
Of course, do not forget about our quite new feature. You can also close your private messages from different people, just let it
I know what will be the answer here, guys.
Yes.
You cannot.
I'm sorry, but for some people that is
can't
not an option. Switching off the chat. I'm a YouTuber, I'm a CC, I'm a streamer, I'm a moderator on the big server, I'm a clan leader. These are all reasons why people need to be able to contact me. Switching off the chat is not a choice for everyone that they can make. And that should not, even if I could, that never excuses people actually behaving like that. So that's, for me, that's still not okay.
Okay, I understand how much.
I have one small point here, like a half measure probably, but I'm not sure I mentioned it to all of you guys, but all of our content creators and community contributors, they have a special tag which support team sees whenever you apply to support and report a ticket. So I don't think we should mention this to players extensively, but our CC's reports are handled like a bit faster, more prioritized than like usual guys. So make use of it. I know it's a half measure till we have like fully improved military 1-3 honor, but yeah, feel free to use it.
Yeah, Dmitry.
Let me add something on this topic. So recently we were discovering some social relationship features with our data analyst. So it was a really big work. I think we spent almost half a year on this project. It wasn't about just chat. It was about all game relationship. It was like a scientific job, very, very serious job that was made by our analyst. And one of the topics here was the chat topic. And we tried to create a model that analyze the chat history and find some good or bad relationship between the players. And we've had an algorithm that helped us to mark toxic players. It wasn't like on a real service, it was like the simulation, but still we've got some results, and I think we will continue this topic in the future, because many other games have these options. They have really powerful analytical system that can track the chat in real time and punish players in real time without any жалобы, without any reports from the players. It's not that it's something in development for now, but we also work on this topic.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Hasmat and Fugit. You have extra questions about the toxicity or about the chat? I would ask you to make it a little bit faster so we can answer more questions.
Make it even shorter. I think one topic here for the toxicity, we can't change the people, but I think it's because it's a mobile game and the chat is really present and big in the middle of the screen. So if you think about the normal World of Tanks or something like this, the chat is really small in the edge and you don't look at it all the time. Do you perhaps think about to make the chat a little bit smaller or to the other side of the screen or something like this? Because if you don't look at it all the time, perhaps it's not a big deal.
It would be less distracting.
Yeah.
But do you need chat at all then?
It can still be useful. When I'm dead, I tend to try and help my teammates, and sometimes it's the same way for them to me. So switching off the chat is not okay either, in my opinion. Okay. But if it's less like full frontally in your face, it will not be distracting when someone starts spamming cuss words at you.
I see. So it's battle interface, and I think that this question relates to Roman and his team. So are we going to change the chat size in the game?
I definitely write it down for me in my notes. So we discussed it with our UI designers, how we can maybe do it or not. So we think about it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for any ideas that you have and share with us.
Yeah. Thank you. So Frostbite.
Yes, just a small little thing about in-game chat. Maybe could it be possible to implement a feature where we could type a command to mute certain players in-game if they're spamming, offensive terms or stuff like that, stuff we don't want to see. We could mute specific players so that we could still keep our chat on in-game and still allow for communication, but prevent trolls from appearing on our screen in that regard.
I think we will think about it, how to mute
certain player.
During the battle, as I understood. So I think we will think about how to do it.
Okay, so Roman is making notes.
Yeah, I will. Yes, I will give these notes to my colleagues who actually implement chat system in our game.
Okay, so thank you, guys. I suggest to close the topic with the chat.
So I'm going to bring part 1 to an end there because it goes on for a lot longer, and I'll try and get part 2 done later this week. By all means, comment in everything below. Let us know your thoughts on what you've heard in this video. And until the next time, guys, remember, stay safe out there. Have fun on the battlefield. And happy tanking, because that is what it's all about. Having fun, being happy.